works in seeing opportunities for organizations and people to help us realize our vision. Joan Wages has those same kinds of capacities and passions as do Lorraine and Teresa and Datsy. And in addition, Joan is a living example of the value in valuing diversity and making accommodation for differences. But now, Joan, you heard about the different commitment and involvement. She goes to extreme on that thing. She's well beyond involvement. She's so committed, she's turning her poor husband, Don Wages, into a literal leader of some RJT activities. The RJT is the catalyst for the 8th Principal Task Force. The 8th Principal Task Force, that's Kirk Ballin, Erica Joyner, Henry Woodward, Hildy Getz, Lynn Yates. But that 8th Principal Task Force is the entity that is at the forefront of helping this church, this congregation, choose a path toward being truly an anti-racist congregation. This congregation, a lot of you volunteered. Williams Memorial Baptist Church was in the running for one of those free defibrillators. Is that how you pronounce that thing? Defibrillator? Defibrillator, yeah, that's the one. And they needed that minimum number of people to qualify. About half of that minimum number came from this congregation. Now that on itself looks like being anti-racist, but you have to think about it. The very factors that made Williams Memorial's congregation much more at risk and in need of that sort of thing than our own congregation. That's where we were truly being anti-racist. That was a case where RJT was the catalyst starting that relationship with Williams Memorial, and this congregation stepped up to the front and made it a reality. RJT is not always just a catalyst. Every once in a while, we've been a main ingredient, active ingredient. Our white supremacy teach-in workshops gave a lot of people some good history without the guilt trips. RJT indeed was the entity that instituted the Roanoke Area Pledge to End Racism Initiative. Now, no matter what, in the future, when they look back, this congregation, this site is where the very first workshops took place, where the very first accountability groups formed. No matter how far in the future it spreads to other locations and other facilitators, we will always be the first. The congregation, well, I just want to name actually some of the volunteers, in addition to RJT members who were facilitators in those first workshops. Bonnie Edwards, Catherine Hoffman, Barbara Horton, Carol Rowan, Adele Wetzel, and Lydia Warner. And of course, now I guess we're sort of being back to just a catalyst with those workshops, because very recently, an accountability group from one that started right here created a website, a pretty good, impressive website that helps people do more than read about ending racism, more than talk about ending racism, and helps real people put skills to use to end racism. So I suppose overall, we're a little better than good news, bad news, that because we're lucky, we have a congregation who is doing what it takes to make our vision a reality that we can't control. And I would say in the future, maybe the near future, that you'll see different individuals bringing different attributes, but still having the RJT remain a good thing in a small package. And now that I know that Bill Bestwich is next, I will call him.
Well, good morning. Good morning. I'm here to talk about the newly rejuvenated Ram House team. Some of you who are relatively new to UUCR may not know that for many years, a group of volunteers from our congregation helped to serve the lunch at Ram House on the fourth Saturday of every month. Many more of you may be aware of the articles that our own Betsy Biesenbach has written in the Roanoke Times for many years, telling the stories of people who have been helped by Ram House. And maybe you've even made a contribution to that Good Neighbors Fund at some point along the line. A while back, Walker Hartman and I started talking about whether we could get this team reactivated that had to discontinue basically when COVID came along. I told him that I was going to ask that announcement be put in the bulletin and in the weekly e-newsletter. And Walker said, well, that's great to have a broadcast appeal, but you're going to have to make some phone calls afterwards to ask specific people to help out. We wanted at least 12 volunteers because we know that no one can be available every month throughout the year. We now have 17, and I haven't made any phone calls. This is the congregation that wants to be a force for good in the world, and this is just one more way to do it. I didn't bring the list with me, and I apologize to any of you who are on it that I will not mention. But I will say, if you did not receive an email from me telling you about our first time on April 29, you're not on the list. So we're always looking for more people. As others have said, this is not something you have to do every single time. Help out when you can. It's from 9:15 to 1:15. Our first time, as I said, is this coming Saturday, April 29. We need about 4 to 6 volunteers each time. We have 7 signed up for this Saturday, so we're in good shape. If you want to be added to the list, it's not too late. And I would like to ask Ann Hackworth to come up. Oh, there she is.
Good morning. I'm Ann Hackworth. I'm here to represent the Reading Seeds team, which also includes Ninan and Bonnie Evans and Linda Wallace and Judy Robertson and Heather Mason. Reading Seeds was formed here at UUCR in 2012. Our volunteers aim to provide children from mainly low-income families in the city of Roanoke a better chance at reading success by helping them build their own home libraries. The books we source, they're new and age-appropriate, are given to children to take home. We rely on grant funding and donations to pay for our books. Our volunteers seek new grant sources, research and update local literacy statistics to support the grant applications, and submit applications as well as the requisite updates. Reading Seeds has received funding from the church's Mission and Ministry Fund several times. Thank you. We can always use suggestions for other grant sources and funding. We buy most of our books from First Book Marketplace, a nonprofit for schools and programs that serve children in need. First Book makes books available at significant discount from $3 to $7 each. Sorry. Every couple of months, we place an online order for hundreds of books. When these books arrive here in the church, 3 or 4 of us will gather in the fellowship hall to count, sort, label, and shelve the books in the Reading Seed closet back in the corner. When we received the enormous quarterly shipments of books from our local literacy partner, Star City Reads, we put out a call to our larger group of UUCR volunteers to do the same tasks. Many hands make light work. Every other week, we select almost 200 books from the closet to take to 2 Roanoke Head Start sites. Quarterly, we distribute more than 800 Star City Reads books to 4 Roanoke elementary schools. We choose books according to age and/or classroom, bag up the books with age and/or class labels, and then drive them to our destinations. Our big news is that our volunteers have been invited back into the 2 Head Start centers to read aloud to children in person. We were forced to stop reading early in 2020 because of the pandemic. A dozen UUCR members have already expressed interest in reading to the youngsters, and we hope to be underway soon. If you're interested, see me. Thank you. Jean Edmonds.
I'm Jean Edmonds, representing the Kitchen Committee. No new skills have to be learned. Can you unload the dishwasher? Can you sanitize the countertops? Can you throw some old food away from the refrigerator? So this is a great behind-the-scenes job. It's also a solo job, no committee meetings. So maybe you don't get along so well with other people. You can, on your week that you choose 1 week a month, you just come by 1 or 2 times and check the kitchen and make it look just like your kitchen at home. We do need one more person. We have Mary Harshfield is the chair, Pam Yates, Jane Harrison, and me. We just take a week a month and sort of come by a couple times and check things out. We could use one more person to do that, or one person that just could be available as an all-needs basis. My next speaker is Judy Nelson.
Thank you very much. That was great, Jean. You know what? Something magical happens at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. I mean, I saw it this morning when we were singing that song, what's it called? Turn the World Around. And those children were volunteering and dancing around. And you know what you guys were doing? You were all smiling. You were so happy, and you shared it with all of us. And it was really great. I have to say, Carrie, I'm really thrilled that we're sitting here and we can see all of you. But it is about giving. And there is a lot of joy in giving. And so, you know, we recite the covenant every Sunday, and we talk about supporting one another. And when we support one another, we support this church. And one way to fulfill this commitment is to volunteer. When you volunteer as an usher, you commit to helping out on Sunday morning by handing out the order of services, by directing people to sit over on the left-hand side, by, you know, taking the collection and counting it. Really, the only real skill you need is to smile and to have 10 fingers to help you count. So that's it. We have plenty of volunteers, but we need 2 for every Sunday. I'd like to acknowledge Walker Hartman, Jane Harrison, Henry Woodward, Sue Egbert, Lori Livingston, Dennis McKim, Cindy Lawler, Ann Hackworth, Michael Adams, and me. And I also want to point out that Kay Brandt, who attended the Living the Question, she came and she volunteered after she attended Living the Question. I also want to announce that, or make reference to our own president, Catherine Hoffman, who spends a great deal of time working on the church. But on Sunday morning, whether she's singing in the choir or other Sundays, she volunteers to be an usher. It's a great way to give back to the church. If you come on Sunday morning, then you have the opportunity to volunteer. The last song the choir is going to sing is The Fire of Commitment, which, I'm not kidding, is a real toe tapper. It it's just as Matt Livingston said. He said, I get goosebumps every time I hear it. So I want to tell you, I was at the Y yesterday, and that song has been singing through my head, Carrie, since Wednesday. So I'm getting dressed, and don't you know, in the next set of lockers, somebody is singing or humming that tune. And I was like, Lorraine? And it was Lorraine. But it is a great song. So you know what? In closing, I would like everyone to turn to your order of service. And on the other side, where it says volunteers, and then it says announcements, below it, it has fire of commitment. And it has the words, it says chorus. And I would like us to read this together because it is about a commitment. It is about, and you know what the dynamics of this song is? It says, with joy and energy. And so let's read it together. All right, here we go. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. Thank you. And it is all about the joy.
Okay, so I'll be so fast because I heard somebody say, "Oh my gosh, it's never ending." So I'll be real fast. So because there are a lot of volunteers, so I'm just talking about the choir. The choir volunteers every week, so they do commit to every week. Well, they commit to every week, but then they go on vacation, and sometimes only 8 of them are there. But they're here today, and this is not even all of them. We have about 8 people who aren't here or so. Maybe less than that, but we have such a good time, and I think that the choir adds a whole lot to the service. And during the pandemic, they really worked hard to keep things going. We made lots of videos and did lots of extra singing, and everybody learned how to work some really interesting technology. And Nancy Baye never cussed once when she had to work it. So anyway, the choir is a great way to volunteer. We meet every Wednesday during the regular year, which lines up with the school year, at 7:30, and we sing twice or 3 times a month. And then the one group, I don't know if anybody's here to talk about RE, but to me, RE is the most important way that you can volunteer. Because if you don't raise little UUs, you might not have big UUs. And Jesse is forever saying, I need volunteers. I need volunteers. And it's not hard. And it's very joyful and sometimes interesting and sometimes doesn't go as planned, like choir often does that. So if you are interested in volunteering for RE, I just think that that should be at the top of your list for volunteering at UUCR. Thank you.
My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. This is who we are. Thank you, volunteers. And those folks just volunteered their time and effort. I'd like you to volunteer your money. The offering will be gratefully received. here. Appreciate the efforts of all those you've heard about working with this congregation, work that we are in the front.
Good morning. I'm not Robert Wallenborn. Oh, thank you. In fact, I've volunteered to substitute for him today in the spirit of the day. As you know, I'm here to represent the Caring Committee, and the Lifelines portion of our service enables you to share joys, concerns, or milestones. We'd like you please to call or email the church office when you have something you want to share. We need that to be received by noon on Friday. Or you could call Sally Garber, our chair, or another member of the Caring Committee. And you can also write in the Lifelines book. It's on the altar before the service and after. And during the week, it stays in the alcove near the name tag board. Let us enter into a time of reverence together. Into this space of love and hope, we bring happy news. Judy Robertson is doing well 12 days after knee surgery, as expected. Thank you for all the well wishes, says Mormon Robertson, her #1 caregiver. We also want to send congratulations to Joan and Don Wages. Their brilliant offspring and son, Jackson Wages, has been accepted into a PhD program in math at the University of Kentucky. He'll be starting this fall. And one more round of congratulations to Heather Mason, who has co-authored Take Into Account, an article which appears in the spring issue of Trend and Tradition, the magazine of Colonial Williamsburg. It's a fascinating read about a woman tavern keeper in Williamsburg in the 1740s. Now we'll have a time where you may come forward to light a candle for any personal joys or concerns you hold in your heart, and for all those people in our lives that move us.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul.
May our prayers be heard and our hearts be restored.
Join me in a time of prayer, meditation, and reflection. We're grateful for another opportunity to be together. Being together is a blessing we're not always offered. We humans have a strong tendency to think of ourselves as individuals first and foremost. Truth is, however, we are because others were. And we carry the responsibility of maintaining what has been and are offered the opportunity to leave what has been better than before. That's our challenge. That is our obligation. That's the footprint we will leave when our time together has ended. Amen.
Thankfully, we now have announcements listed in your program, so they're all there for you. And I do want to make one correction for coming events and reminders. It says Sunday, April 9th for the 8th Principal Task Force and Talk with a Sex Therapist. That's actually today. So make sure that if you need either one of those, you join us this afternoon. And that is
Our closing hymn is The Fire Committed. Out, and it is a toe tapper, so you're all welcome to sing along. That's why the words are there.